they say there's a 10 commandments of continuous improvement within the processes, products, services, applications, businesses, whatever you think about it. So you need to, there's a kind of thinking that we all need to do. First thing is obviously we need to abandon the ideas that are old, that are fixed, that are well accepted, because we need to think in terms of how fresh, how differently we can try and think and work. So think of ways to make it possible. So how can we think differently? How can we make sure that we deliver software in a different way than the traditional way? And we don't have to have any excuses in terms of how it works or how it doesn't work. Don't think about all the excuses or why it won't work. Don't think about it. Just start doing something. Go for the simple solution, not the perfect one. Again, fits into the context of agile thinking. It's not about the perfect solution. It's not about the perfect ways. It's all about doing things in a way that gives you a good software product. Remember, good is the enemy of perfection. So don't worry about perfection, about getting it right all the first time and every time. That was a 30 years old quality management technique, to get it right the first time and get it right every time. Not necessary in this world, because we're doing things really quickly in small ways. So it's important we kind of get the things right up, and then build on the top of that. Correct mistakes right away, as and when you actually try and do the things. If you encounter any mistakes, any problems, correct them right away. Don't have to wait till the last. And remember, that's what, just if you can try and relate it to the model, the example that I was giving you yesterday of the kayak and the Titanic cruiser. So it's all about being lean and slim, and how you can take quick decisions and then be able to correct your course quickly with a kayak when you try and row with a paddle, as opposed to a huge ship, which has got all the fat, all the things, which is really monstrous. And if you want to try and change its course, it takes a lot of effort, time, and crew and team to work on that. So that's important. Then use your wits and not your wallet. So it's important that you need to think about doing things intelligently. That's what we call in the Indian context jugaad. So it's the way of doing things in a way that using your own, all the tools, the resources that you have. It's not about how much money. Again, remembering an anecdote about during the Cold War days, when Russia and America were fighting to get into the space game, the space war, and that's when actually Russians and Americans were putting in loads of money and all the effort and their resources into sending this first man or first woman into the space. So the race is on, and then the Americans were actually trying to build. In fact, I had actually seen it. In fact, they created a pen which actually writes in using which you can write in space. It's like a zero gravity pen. So it actually can write even in space without having, it works in the low pressure area as well. So in fact, they spent apparently about $1 million or something like that. I'm just telling you a story, so I cannot vouch for it. Compare that to what the Russians were using at that point of time. Apparently, they did the same thing. They could also write in space without having to worry about the ink coming out. And you know what they used? Apparently, they used a pencil. So things about, it's not I'm not trying to say that the Russians are smarter than Americans or Americans are not. That's not the case here. But the point is the moral from the story. And the moral from the story is that we need to think of solutions which work with cheaper cost, with lesser labor, with a lot of less effort. It's not about spending loads of money into developing some solution like the space pen, which takes which works in zero gravity and all that. That's fine, but you can as well use a pencil in the space. So that's the whole idea. Problems or opportunities, again, you don't have to really get bogged down by problems. It's about identifying what the problem really is, going to the root cause, and then turning the problem into its head and trying to kind of reverse the whole thing. And you've identified that there's a lot of opportunities that you're presented with. So again, lean is about getting to the root of the problem and riding on the problem as if it's an opportunity and not be afraid of it. Again, looking at the way we are now with all these situation that lockdown and the virus and everything else. I don't want to talk too much about it, but it is a problem. There is a negative way of looking at it, but also the positive way of looking at it is the thing that we're all doing now, is right. We're actually trying to utilize this time. We're trying to learn. We're trying to optimize the problem. We're trying to take it as an opportunity for connecting with different people of our interests and trying to actually learn, share, and apply the learning as we go. That's again an opportunity. It's not a problem. So looking at the positive way of things. Repeat why 5 times. It's called a 5 why technique. We'll actually go through that in the next few slides. Very important. It's also used in the Ishikawa, or what we call as a fishbone diagram. We'll talk about all of those in the next few slides. Seek ideas from many people. Again, it's really important. The more people you talk to, the more open-minded you are and broad-minded you are, the better, because you're actually trying to absorb all the positivity, all the goodness. Again, I relate it back to one of the oldest scriptures in the world. It's called Rig Veda from India. It actually says one thing there. It is very, very popular, which is what I really love in that the whole of the scripture. It's about a good 10,000-year-old scripture. Talks about one thing, which is accept truth and good from all sides, no matter where it comes from, who it is coming from. It doesn't matter. If it is good, if it is true, if it is something that is honest and noble, accept it and adapt it and apply it and try and share it and spread it. So that's the way we should actually try and be open that's what lean advises as well. And there's no end to improvement. There's no such thing as, yes, it's done, finished, the project is finished. As we discussed with agile and all these lean and Kanban and Scrum, there's no end date for a project. It's always continuously evolving and improving.